All right, Sequel Rights listeners, it's now time to please rise and join in singing the Sequel Rights anthem in honor of 150 episodes.
Sequel Rights, we watch together, movies one by one. We have shared another franchise, awful good and dumb. Episodes will soon be over, then another starts. And right now a roadhouse whispers Neho to our hearts. Join Benji, Purge and Tremors, Purge Benji. At Sequel Rights, the franchise lasts long as audience demand. On the train or in the shower, whenever we have time. Films and movies we devour, sequels really shine. Join Benji, Purge and Tremors, Purge Benji. At Sequel Rights, the franchise lasts long as audience demand.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Helly
and
Tyler Hymanson.
And as you heard, we're doing something different this week. We are here celebrating 150 episodes. Woo!
Good God.
Yeah.
I got
Gotta watch them all.
That's right. I popped some champagne just for this night. You're ready. Ready to party.
Clink, clink, cheers.
That's right.
I picked up the blue version. Elis picked up the red version.
I loved, yeah, it's so funny. I loved, we're playing the music clips live here tonight, and I was having a hard time not laughing through the Sequel Rights anthem.
I forgot that you called out Tyler for the train and all the other stuff in there.
Guys, so that's one of the greatest sadnesses of this pandemic. Not the hundreds of thousands of people that have died, but that I can no longer watch pornographic sequels on a train amongst other people.
Man,
I would have liked to see the reactions of people while you watched those Bring It On sequels, for sure.
Yeah.
It's almost as bad as pornographic sex
No,
scenes.
it would have been worse, really.
It's like there's a bunch of people out in the world just thinking you're totally normal now and not thinking you're weird at all. That's not right. That's not right.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
There's no mothers taking their children off of the train car that I'm on.
Oh, God. Well, you guys, we've pulled together a fun episode here today looking back at some of our favorite moments of the past 150 episodes. Just a little fun clip show, recap, remembrance episode for all our listeners out there, and it could be a good starting point for anyone who is just hopping in and hearing us for the first time. Maybe some of these clips that we have and surprises we have coming up tonight or today or whenever you're listening to this will make you interested in checking out more episodes. So thanks for being here. Should we get right into it?
Oh, I think we get right into it. After 150 episodes, that's what we do.
Actually, though, if you do want to email us, it's sequelrights@gmail.com. And you can find us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube at Sequel Rights.
And please rate, review on Apple Podcasts, or let us know on social media if at the end of this episode, if there's something that we missed, if there was some other thing that you want us to pull out of the sequel rights vault. Let us know, and we'll find a way to do that. It's been really fun putting these episodes together for everybody out there, and we love hearing from fans telling us, the things that they really enjoy. And hopefully we have most of it here in this episode.
That's right.
All right, now we can get right into
All right. Yeah, I think we got a good little smattering of, stuff throughout our 150 episodes. I think, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I think one of the most exciting things that we get to do on this podcast is every once in a while we get to bring in some amazing guests and land some awesome people for interviews. And so we wanted to kind of go through and highlight some of the fun interviews and guests we've had throughout the show so far. And I mean, we have to start with our most recent one that I think, it's the most recent and also the one that we're really excited about still. And that was having Alexa Penavega on for an interview about the Spy Kids franchise.
Yeah.
So speaking of the family relationship, I wanted to ask you what your relationship with Daryl Sabra was like and how it changed over all the years you guys were together, and what's it like now?
So I've known Daryl, actually. We did a TV show together before Spy Kids. Okay. I think he did a couple episodes of a show called Life's Work way back when. So I knew him when he was 3 years old. So then we both end up doing Spy Kids together, and we were legit brother and sister. We loved each other and hated each other. He would get under my skin, and he loved to make me so mad, like a little brother. He would pester me all the time, and he would do it on purpose. But then he would come over and bring me a donut and be like, "I love you so much. You're the greatest sister." So it really was this family thing. But you would see us on set, and I don't know how I never got in trouble, but I'd be like, "Daryl," and I'd push him. I just remember being so annoyed.
It was such a pleasure to get to talk with her. I mean, what did you guys think? That was a highlight.
She
for me.
was just so open and funny and friendly. You can see, why she became a popular actress. It just definitely. I mean, I've listened to that interview now maybe 6 or 7 times completely because I transcribed it. I made it into videos for us. I did all these things, but it's still entertaining every time. And another thing that I miss about being a journalist of the written word is that you never have to read your questions again or hear back what you said. You only get to view the beautiful quotes of the person you're interviewing.
Yeah, it was such a fun interview. It was really great, especially just because there was such a insight and such a unique time of filmmaking and when she was there, and it was just really interesting. I highly recommend going back and listening to the whole thing if you missed it, and going back and revisiting Spy Kids 1 and 2 because they're surprisingly great.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been following along on our socials at all, you'll see that what we played tonight is just a very small clip, and there are some really enticing stories that she shares with us that apparently she hasn't shared anywhere else. So definitely go and check out our episode with her. It's the Spy Kids 3D Game Over episode with Alexa Penavega.
Yeah.
Yes, but you can probably skip the Spy Kids 3D movie.
Yeah.
And she allows it herself. She says so in the interview.
That's right. That was great.
So one thing that I think we all really love about movies is the music. And so one thing we wanted to do throughout tonight was highlight some of our favorite songs from these franchises. And we're also obsessed with the Oscars and award shows. So in that fashion, I'm going to cut in every so often with one of our nominees for Best Sequel Song. And it was so hard to narrow it down. It's an honor for these songs just to be nominated by us. But in order for me to narrow it down to 5, I really had to just keep it to songs that are sung. So no themes like Dragonheart or whatever, because that's just going to be that's going to be way too many. And then it's only songs from sequels, never the first movie. That was the only possible way to narrow this down. So our first nominee from the film Herbie Goes Bananas is I Found a New Friend by Frank Duvall.
ego. It's nice if you got one, but it's nicer if you're not one to stop looking for more. The world is full of people who need you so much. A million hearts there to touch, and I bet you a banana manana you'll have a new friend. And I bet you a banana manana you'll have a new friend.
Oh, how cute!
One of the most questionable rhymes that you'll hear tonight.
Oh man, they're I can't wait for you guys to hear. Some of you might have missed some of these songs that we played because we always bring up these crazy songs in whenever they occur in our episodes.
It's like whenever a sequel where a franchise goes on long enough, there's somebody associated with it who's like, I've been tinkering in the garage with a little ditty I'd like to share with you guys, and they sometimes not in the second movie, but by the third or fourth, they emerge, and oh boy.
Yeah, and I think, I think there's some stiff competition.
There absolutely is.
Coming up in this best song category tonight.
But in the meantime, you can order delivery from our new smoothie business, Banana Manana. You have to do your orders the day before. But yes, we will get you a smoothie.
We only deliver to the LA.
Sounds like an awful business plan.
It's banana tomorrow. Yes. Okay.
Banana tomorrow. That's amazing. I don't think I'd order from them. I'm sorry, Tyler. I'm sorry.
It's our business. You own a third of it.
I quit. All right, I'm selling my shares and going to Cabo or something. Yeah. Well, why don't we get back into another of our fun interviews here? We had the opportunity to have on Matthew Feitshins, whose father, Buzz Feitshins, was producer on the original 3 Rambo movies and a bunch of other ones.
And Conan and like a lot of just late 70s, early 80s macho action films. It was so much fun to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
And later on came in for our Dragon Heart series. And one of my favorite people that we've talked to.
Buzz was a producer on, big notable ones being Conan the Barbarian and Total Recall. And a host of others of the big action movies of the 80s.
Yeah, just
and 90s.
the pillars of 80s action movies.
The ones that have all the muscles.
Yeah. Exactly. They're absolutely, exactly. And being gay, I very quickly, early on, noticed those muscles. Awesome. And I was like, is anyone else noticing how homoerotic this is? But maybe, no one else did at the time.
Right. Let's get more close up with these biceps. Could they be greasier?
I definitely remember there were moments where Stallone, would stop a take, or at least say, I don't know if we're getting quite the abs, like the light on these as we should. But anyway,
nice.
So yeah, Buzz was involved in these films early on, and it's funny watching them. As you guys do, you sit and you watch them and discuss them, and I sit and I watch them and I go, okay, I'm right there. I'm hiding behind that pillar and I'm ducking down because, they could, you get these weird sense memories where you kind of remember where you were, in Hope, Alaska, or rather Hope, Canada, Hope, British Columbia, in whatever winter of 1981.
Oh man, what a guy. I mean, the whole way that we even came into contact with him was that in the early Dragonheart episodes, he liked one of our tweets. And so when I noticed his dad's name in the Rambo credits, I was like, I'm going to message that guy and just see what's up. And it worked. And, now it's a lot easier to agree to an interview because it's all on Zoom. We're all quarantined, but he came out to my work in the conference room for the first time we interviewed him. And the second time he came to Justin's house and was just so nice and so cool.
Yeah, it sat with us and just a treasure trove of filmmaking knowledge, filmmaking history.
Oh yeah.
Really, just a joy to talk to. And every single we had to cut off the interviews because otherwise I just would have chewed his ear off for 5 hours. Just like, oh, what happened here? Like, tell me about Total Recall.
Yeah, but we got a lot of good feedback on that interview as well. It's definitely one of the most like
the Dragonheart fans. And I can't wait to see the next one too.
Yeah. So check out a couple interviews with Matthew Feitshins on Rambo 3 and Dragonheart Vengeance.
Yeah, and go back on Rambo 2. I think that it's one of the ones that I think starts the most promising and ends in the most disappointing place. But I do think that there's a lot to be said there, and I think that I'm proud that we did that one. I think that there is a lot of sequel pitfalls that rear their heads at that moment, and I'm glad we waited a little bit in this podcast before we tackled something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll get back to Rambo later. But first, speaking of Vietnam, it's time for our second nominee for Best Song. It is from Braddock, Missing in Action 3, In Your Eyes by Ron Bloom.
I can almost see the eagle take the sky, see her fly. It is our love of freedom that has always kept us strong. Let it be the bridge that brings our children home. I can see the love of freedom shining in your eyes. I can see the love of freedom in your eyes. Oh, it's the love of freedom in your eyes.
Oh, man. So let's not forget, this song plays over the end of Braddock Missing in Action 3, where he is escaping with tons of Doi children, the dust of life, the half American, half Vietnamese children who really have no concept of freedom or an American eagle, yet somehow the love of it is in their eyes.
They just love that freedom.
The precursor to the inevitable sitcom where Braddock takes them all home and lives in a house with all of them.
The fact that it goes into a sax solo.
Yes,
No, that's
exactly
what makes it the sitcom.
Like I had a hard time choosing which part of the song to use because there's two very distinct parts. The intro is just this amazing, like, his vocals are nuts on this intro, and I was like, oh man, but we gotta get to the saxophone, the 90s, like, Full House or whatever saxophone. I got to get to it.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit one of the longer song clips, but it is worth it. Oh my God, that's so ridiculous.
So that's number 2. It'll be exciting to see who wins the nomination here.
Yeah. 2 down, 3 to go. Speaking of 3.
Oh, that is an A+ transition that I wish that we could give awards to, but we cannot.
I know. We're starting off with all these interviews from our third movie episodes.
Yeah,
that's true.
But I think this is one of our earliest interviews that we got on the podcast. Even though this is already episode 40 by the time we're having S.S. Wilson on, a creator of the Tremors franchise, and I think this was. Yeah, being able to have him on here was the first time that we really felt like, oh man, like, wow, we can get like these really cool guests and have an amazing conversation with these people that have created franchises that are long lasting and still continuing to this day, like Tremors. There's a new one coming out sometime soon.
Yeah.
And I think it does get to the heart of what, when we started this podcast, the idea was not to roast bad movies.
No,
like it was like the each and every movie a fair trial. Like that was us talking about, like, we know that there's people making these movies. We know that there's an idea behind it. And I think that there's something interesting about, really upholding and loving the idea of an idea that's strong enough to make a franchise, and to then discuss with the people that are part of that how that idea gets deviations, how the actual movie making industry kind of comes in and sometimes subverts but sometimes enhances everything. And really, this S.S. Wilson conversation that we're about to play here was the first step in that, because Tremors, when we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, are a lot of the same creative team and some really wonderful movies. And it's really interesting that even if the movies that we watch that are kind of a slog, I love talking to the people who are behind them and the ideas that are behind them, the things that could be there and maybe weren't there, but they always seem to have ideas about what could be next. And I think that's really what this is about.
Why do you think that you and your team were so great at creating these really strong female co-leads?
I am so glad to hear that, because I do feel like we were ahead of the curve, and it wasn't like we set out to do that. In a way, it's something that we felt was important from the get-go. We always knew. I guess I would say that in some instance, all of our discussion about character in Tremors 1 was we will not do any 50s tropes, other than that the girl is a scientist. And so everything about Rhonda was going to not be, the helpless person being helped by the sheriff who doesn't know anything and shouldn't know anything. And so that mindset was there going in. And then I guess both of us we just like capable women anyway. So that was something that then just continued through all the movies. But I am glad to hear that, because it is something that we don't often hear. The one thing I get from geeky fanboys is, Rhonda's not very sexy.
What? Come on.
And I always go, have you looked at Finn Carter? But,
That was great. And you're right. That was like the first franchise where we really had like guests that were really connected to that, because the episode right after that, we interviewed Sam Lee, for the kid from Tremors 4, which was so cool. And and that was also the first interview that it wasn't like we really had to plan it carefully, because there are many sensitive things about what ended up happening with Stampede Entertainment, S.S. Wilson's company, and the Tremors franchise. Mm-hmm. And, we asked him about it, and he did not shy away from answering honestly about, how heartbreaking it was for them to kind of lose the franchise. And it was just so impressive how open he was willing to be with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on here. We've been playing all these songs for the original song category. But, Sequel Rights has some original songs as well. You may have heard, at the beginning you heard the Sequel Rights anthem. I believe that came from our Dirty Dancing episode.
Which I thought was Meatballs when I was listening to it. And I was like, oh, no, it was the other summer camp movie.
No, that's Meatballs.
Meatballs. Yeah, so funny. What were you saying, Liz? This is the best adapted?
This is best adapted song, a new category.
Oh, yes.
Justin's the only nominee. I mean, he's going to be modest, but Tyler and I get so happy when he does these songs.
How these work, just a little bit of behind the scenes here. So do an episode, and most of these have some dumb song that we'll talk about, but sometimes the muse is lurking around Justin Camp's apartment, or he is struck by the lightning bolt of inspiration. And there is no, this is absolutely true. There is no greater joy when in our Slack I just get a MP3 sent my way with no explanation. I'll call my girlfriend over and I'll be like, okay, we have to listen to this. Justin just sent an MP3. This is, I am so excited, and I have never, ever, ever, ever been disappointed by clicking on this MP3. It's always something incredible like what you're about to hear.
Let's do a little bit of setup here. So this is from, this was with, came after our Free Willy 3 episode, I believe.
Yes.
Where one of the murderous whaler father.
Right.
Yes, yeah. It's the most absurd setup for a movie. where the dad was just out to kill killer whales for no reason.
Yeah. Just making money and selling them for meat.
It's his right.
It's his right. My papa was a whaler. I'm a whaler.
That's right. You might say he was born to be whaled. My name is John Wesley. My granddad was a whaler. My dad was a whaler. And I'm a whaler too. Get your boat a-running. Head out on the seaway. Looking for Kujira. Gonna get a whale payday. Yeah, Max, we're gonna make it happen. Shoot a whale right in the face. Fire all the harpoons at once and put whale on them plates. I like boats and fishing, rocking ocean waters, shooting things with fins. There ain't nothing like the slaughters. Yeah, Max, we're gonna make it happen. Shoot a whale right in the face. Fire all the harpoons at once and put whale on them plates. Oh, like a true whaler's child, we were sworn to the law. By that oil lamp's light, my heart will never thaw. Born to be whaled. Born to be whaled. Amazing. Amazing.
And that, of course, coming from Free Willy 3, where our Jesse is driving down a freeway listening to Born to Be Wild for some reason, because the movie couldn't seem to afford anything else that was expensive, but they paid for that song.
And I believe Tyler made some amazing alternate artwork for the Steppenwolf single that we probably posted up on Instagram somewhere.
Oh, yes, that's true.
So another really great interview that we did that we want to highlight here. This was like a weird friend of a friend situation. One of my high school friends, Sean Davidson, who we interviewed also for a different episode, but he happened to be Facebook acquaintances with one of the actresses from Home Alone 1 and 2, Terry Snell, who plays Macaulay Culkin's aunt in those two films. And she told us about some of her really amazing stories around those two films, including working with John Hughes.
I just love that man. I'm so sorry he's gone. He was such a treasure. Yes, eccentric, not any other way to say it, but he was eccentric. But he was so brilliant, and he was so kind, and he was so fun. And I know he gave the studios a little bit of a tussle from time to time because he held firm to what his ideas and his beliefs were. But it was just a pleasure. And frankly, he made my life security possible, because with Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2 and the other films that I've done, it vested my pension. It vested my health care for the rest of my life. It was like, thank you, Jesus. Here we go.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh man, yeah, she was great. She told us about like a religious experience she had after her divorce when she got the role in Home Alone, and like, you know, just really great memories about those movies.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember from that interview where she told a story about how her car broke down on the way to the audition, like on the, you know, and that it was, you know, in the middle of her divorce, and that it was just, it seemed like God was against her. And then she got this role and worked with John, and she'd worked with John previously on another film that I don't quite recall off the top of my head at the moment, but was one of the more, what I got from this interview was just so humbling of just what a community filmmakers are, and what a community is to be storytellers, and just that there's just this shared camaraderie with a lot of people and around these movies that was just really wonderful, and she was just fantastic.
Yeah, and like what a life-changing event it can be to land a role, even something on the smaller side, like, you know, her role in those first two films that just become these beloved classics that people watch all the time. And
where like everybody knows who that is.
Yep,
right.
Exactly.
Like,
pretty cool.
Yeah. So I promised we'd come back to Rambo. And so our next nominee for Best Song from the interestingly titled Rambo: First Blood Part 2 is Peace in Our Life by Frank Stallone. I thought that was the end. That was a great fake out.
I was like,
that was amazing.
The fake out ending when it goes back into the like Rambo song. Yeah.
Oh man,
so hilarious. Just going hard with these power ballads here.
And I should say, I picked all of these. I did not commiserate with Justin and Tyler. I just picked the ones that have been. I narrowed it down by that criteria I told you earlier, but also I was like, these are the ones that just randomly will come into my head as I go about my day. You know, something will trigger like my memory, and I'll be like, "Oh, peace and you know, peace like they're just really catchy, even though they're sometimes over the top.
That's what makes
silly.
them
And I mean, okay,
great.
you know, like I know Frank and Sylvester Stallone had, you know, really good motivations. They were writing this song in honor of the Vietnam vets, but it's really over the top.
Oh man, yeah.
So as maybe force and random the placement of these songs might feel in this episode, rest assured that they make more sense in this sequence than they do in the movies that they appear in.
That's right. Well, that's funny with the peace in your life. Like, I think that's the one. I can't remember if it's that one or Braddock, but one of them, it's like I couldn't play the beginning of the song because I could only find it ripped from like ripped from the end credits,
so
and there's like chopper noises in the background and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty funny.
Oh man.
Well, diverting from Vietnam well, actually we go from
another Christmas
movie. To Vietnam back to Christmas.
That's right. And you know, a song that did not make the cut of the film.
No.
No. I don't think this song would have made any sense.
It wouldn't. Let's hear this story about Phil Hartman and one of my buddies from home, also EJ De La Pena, who played the little kid in Jingle All the Way, not Jake Lloyd from Phantom Menace, the other little kid, and how Phil Hartman entertained the kids on set.
And Phil kept us entertained.
Aww.
He would tell jokes. He would sing songs. Like some of what I remember to this day, like singing songs and all that kind of stuff. You want to hear that song?
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully I'm remembering it right and doing him justice, but it was you make my butt shine, you make my butt shine. The more you lick it, the more it shines. The clock is ticking, so keep on licking. Oh, how you make my buttocks shine.
Oh my god.
That was the stuff that he would do to keep us entertained.
And so as 8-year-old boys, you were probably just over the moon. Yeah.
He had our number.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
So this was them talking in context of being trapped inside this car in winter garments on the Universal Studios lot in the summer, that it was kind of miserable to shoot, and that Phil was just a constant force of positivity with the kids and everybody on set, even during some pretty dismal shooting conditions for the first Jingle All the Way movie. And it's just I love hearing stories about that, especially about people that I adore. And Phil Hartman is definitely somebody that I, from Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer to Phil Hartman, he's somebody that I quite enjoy, and I love hearing nice stories.
You may remember him from such films as Jingle All the Way. Anyway, but no, and shout out to EJ for that wonderful performance, because it's not like he thought of that the day before or something. Like we saw in his eyes that he was like, oh, like he remembered it right then.
I have a Phil Hartman story right now. Yeah.
And then performed it with those lovely, affectations and everything. So that was great.
And EJ has
quite wonderful.
EJ has a bunch of other great anecdotes throughout the episode. And I think, when I was going back and listening to stuff to edit, I think that this is probably one of the funnier episodes we have, because we have great fun with an Arnold Schwarzenegger soundboard throughout the episode. And his quotes from that film are ridiculous. So you gotta check that one out, especially around the holidays coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to see that movie with my best buddy Drew when it came out at the United Artists in downtown Henderson. Everyone has Jingle All the Way memories. Go back and listen to that movie episode.
So our penultimate nominee for Best Song comes from the amazing Brave Little Toaster, Goes to Mars. The song is We're Floating, with music by William Finn and lyrics by Ellen Fitzhugh.
Floating, east and west, just like walking. When you're the best, come enjoy our endless flight. From hands too little to hold on tight. Now we float forever, in and out of sight.
Float with us forever, in and out of sight.
That song gets in my head so much.
I was going to say the same
thing. I don't know why. It's torture.
It's that perfectly timed Arrivederci.
So in my mind, because I can't remember the lyrics, I've made up a false lyric that go so in my mind it's we're floating west to east, we're floating like we're deceased. And I'm like, I know that's not it. But that's how I sing it in my mind every time this song comes back in on possibly a multi-weekly basis.
I know. I was going to say the same exact thing. Like, out of all the songs that we pulled for this this best song category, that is the one has been stuck in my head every day of this week since I did that. It's just like, I think it's just like, it's just really hummable, and like we didn't play any of the verses because they're kind of goofy. But the actual chorus and at the end when they're just like la 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 la, it's like so catchy and fun and feel good, and you're just like, oh man, I could just hum this as I walk down the street like da 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 da. It's really
that's right, songwriters, write something that's hummable.
That's all we want, just some hums.
There's also a Pokemon that looks exactly like the balloons that are talking in this movie, and so every time I see that in the game, I'm like, oh, Toaster.
It's 9 on the hummability scale. Speaking of the Brave Little Toaster.
Yeah, boy!
Yeah, boy!
I just had to say that.
Oh, boy.
That was a great quote from Brave Little Toaster to the rescue. And we had an amazing interview. You may not know this guy's name, but you definitely know his work because he's the inventor of the Pixar theory that all Pixar movies are connected. And, like After My Own Heart, it's one of those things that's just so overthought and meticulous. It definitely is really legendary. And it was really cool that he came on to talk to us about some of the themes that are the same between the two movies or the series.
But I'm curious if you think that we can learn any grown-up lessons from Brave Little Toaster to the rescue.
Oh, gosh.
we kind of talked about this with the internet song. But I do think that there is some optimism of like, hey, you're using the internet wrong. And like there is a little bit of inspiration in there. And it's like, oh, you can know what she knows and she can know what you know. And like there is something to that. Like I know it was like bleakly optimistic and obviously didn't pan out that way. But I do think that I did appreciate like they were going for something there, and like I until they got to the stuff where like a virus is the common cold, when they were talking about the basic things of like this is how the internet works, like when Wittgenstein or whatever his name is, when they were explaining how all this stuff works, I do think it was like a simple like kid-friendly way to explain the internet, but for its time in the late 90s, we have to remember like not even the late 90s, like what, 97? Like the internet was still pretty fresh. And people like I still think people have a hard time explaining what the internet literally actually is. And I do give this movie credit to an extent for simplifying it, and it is sort of like an accessible like here's what the internet is, here's the difference between hardware and software, plugging in, don't forget to save. Like that's a very grown-up lesson people need to learn. So, I think that's about it.
I forgot that a major plot point in those movies is remembering to save.
That's right.
Yep.
Oh,
I really loved.
God.
I think if you went back, and checked out episodes, I think the Brave Little Toaster series is a good one because those movies get real insane real quick. And I think honestly, we picked the floating song. I feel like we probably could have picked like at least two other songs out of the
Worthless song. I definitely
Worthless.
The car funeral
Light,
song.
I think about a lot.
That internet one we were talking about there.
Internet. Oh man,
and that's just that episode with John Negroni.
I love that series so much. And I frequently, every time there's like subject of electronics coming up, I make myself sound real smart by name checking planned obsolescence.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, that series goes from of Toaster trying to meet up with its master from a weekend cabin that's been abandoned to a junkyard to them riding a laundry basket to Mars.
As you do. That sounds like a normal life progression for a toaster. I don't know. Yeah. Dude, it's doing toaster things. Do we ever actually see him make toast? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, in a flashback you do once.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I think that's a good call, Justin. I think that's actually a great one to go back to. I have fond memories.
Those episodes are really funny too, I think, just because, oh my God, there's so much nonsense in those movies.
Well, I think up next we have perhaps my favorite Justin Camps original.
And this was the first one, I believe. This is the first one.
God,
really?
So, I went hard on the first one, and everything else after that has just been a joke.
Well, you know, Darkman just sets you up with the perfect idea. So
I know. I did see some articles going around recently about how Darkman should be, one of Universal's monsters, like main monsters in their catalog.
Yes!
And yeah, these movies were really fun. And if you don't know the character Darkman, he had this whole thing where, he was putting on this like fake skin because he got burned. Right?
Yeah, if you want to see the guy who trained Batman and Darth Vader be a superhero, then watch Darkman.
That's right.
And yeah, he has fake. He was horribly burned, and he only has skin that lasts for a certain amount of time.
That's right. And I think like for this song, I think Tyler or somebody made some offhanded joke about what this would be in the episode, and that was the like. Impetus for me to be like, dang, you know what? I should actually make that. It would be really stupid and funny. So without further ado, here is 99 Minutes.
If you're having light problems and can't stay in the sun, you got 99 minutes till the skin is done. I got rags and clothes from the trash, Schmoes that wanna make sure my lab is closed. Strax, what he say, he's future gold zones. My name is Pate, stupid, here's how the story goes. If Julie hadn't dove into docu-hole, we'd be celebrating our marriage after I proposed. Fuck Durant, shooting up my friend Tito. If you don't like your fingers, he can snip some more. Got beef with Julie cause homegirl said no, don't wanna get hitched. I don't give a shit, so Abstracts men try to kill my freak ass so zone holders can give me more land for grabs. Fuckers, I don't know what you take me as or understand the intelligence that Westlake has. I'm from labs to ditches, Durant, here I come. I got 99 minutes till the skin is done. 99 minutes till the skin is done. If you're having life problems, I can't stay in the sun. Got 99 minutes till the skin is done.
Oh.
Everyone.
Chef's kiss.
And no one. Everywhere. Nowhere. Call me Dark Man.
That one even has some clips from the movie. Like, wow, the production value on that instrumental. No.
I love the song lyrics immortalize my jokes about Pate, which only listeners who have listened to every episode would understand. But during the Love Bug and Bring It On series, I made them relentlessly because I am so self-absorbed.
Yeah, and I was like, you still make those jokes to this day.
Yep,
which I think is hilarious. Well, I think we have a lot of fun with our guests on these episodes, but I think like one of the most important guests that we had on was Gabriel Nathan on our Love Bug episode.
Our interview with Gabriel Nathan on the first Love Bug. First, this movie series took me by surprise. I'd never watched The Love Bug and was surprised by it. But this interview with him made me kind of reconsider everything that we're doing with this podcast. It was a really heartfelt, empathetic thing that just made me want to do more with what we could be talking about, what we could be saying. And I really appreciate what he was able to pull out from this, what from all accounts from people that know about or see about it is a silly movie about a living car. But I think that the reason that we all did this podcast is that these types of movies are important to us, and even bad movies are important to us, and there's a magic to storytelling and there's a magic to movies. And I really was humbled by this interview. I thought that it was really wonderful, and if there's one of these that I can implore you to go back and listen to, it is this one.
Here's a clip of Gabriel Nathan talking about the suicide attempt scene in The Love Bug that is the catalyst for everything that he is doing today.
It's such a natural evolution of the action and the storyline. And really, if you think about suicide is never one thing. And a lot of researchers and academics, the main thing that lost survivors are left with is that question, why? And there is no why. There is no one why. But there are multiple factors that contribute to these things. And so if you look at what's happening to Herbie, there's this great attachment that he has to Jim, played by Dean Jones. And Jim, several characters talk about that relationship between a man and his car, right? Mm-hmm. And what that means and what that signifies. And then that trust is broken and that relationship is broken and you're feeling jilted and you're feeling useless. And it's all these things kind of combining. You give so much of yourself to something and then it goes away in a flash. And that can contribute to an act like that.
Yeah, I highly recommend going back and listening to that entire episode. It's uplifting and wonderful, and just everything that Gabriel Nathan is doing is fantastic. I believe that you can now watch his documentary. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's available for streaming. I highly recommend doing that. One of my most favorite interviews that we've done, and made one of the interviews that made me reflect upon my own choices in life more than anything that we've done on this podcast.
Yeah, and just like kind of behind the scenes, it was really amazing because that was right at the beginning of quarantine, like week 1 or 2. And we were barely getting started doing remote interviews. And he's on the East Coast and called in after he put his kids to bed, and he had internet problems, but kept trying to come back. And it was just so amazing. And I attended the virtual premiere of his movie and got to see like all the people in the forum afterwards. They did like a Q&A chatting with him. It was just really amazing. And one thing that that interview reminds me of too is that we've been really lucky over the years to book like both, people that actually worked on these movies, but I also, really take pride in the interviews we've done that are kind of outside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Like people with some other kind of connection or who can bring a different viewpoint to the movie.
People who were affected by these movies.
Yes. And so this was definitely one of my favorites in that vein.
Elis, can you talk a little bit about what his mission is for the people that don't know and kind of what he's all about, just really quickly, because I think it's important.
Yeah, you can find him on social media if you look up Love Bug Trumps Hate. But he basically has his own Herbie with the suicide prevention hotline on the back. And he drives around the country and people just like come up and start talking to him because they're like, whoa, what's that? I recognize that car. Like, what are you doing? And he talks to them and like people just talk to him about their stories of how their lives have been affected by suicide. And he also goes to like events and health fairs and, does a lot of outreach videos and such. And actually the way that we got in touch with him was through Justin's friend, Kyle Smith, who does his videos for Check 15 cancer awareness. So check that out too. But yeah, both, great to see what people are using the power of the internet to do positive things, to bring it back to that toaster discussion. We're here to have fun, but I like to be able to highlight the people that are doing the work.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's doing the work through these movies that other people might write off. And he's just trying to normalize the conversation about suicide and it's a really wonderful project. And it was a real honor to speak with him.
Yeah, and the film that Tyler and Elis are talking about that follows him and Herbie across the country on their trip to bring suicide awareness to everyone is called A Beautiful Day Tomorrow. And if you go to www.abeutifuldaytomorrow.com, you can find more information on where to watch that.
Thank you for having that link handy, because I felt terrible that I did not. And that is a line from the Love Bug.
That scene, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really wonderful. Now we're going to make a hard pivot.
Yes. So it's time for our last nominee for Best Song. And just like the Oscar telecast, the last one is the one that everybody knows is going to win. And so from Starship Troopers 3, Marauder is this brilliant song, It's a Good Day to Die, written by Bill Myers, Kevin McCourt, and Edward Neumeier.
Courage, duty, honor. We call upon our troopers in this our darkest hour. Our way of life is what we're fighting for. The flag that flies above us inspires us each day to give our very best in every way. It's a good day to die when you know the reasons why. Citizens, we fight for what is right. A noble sacrifice. When duty calls, you pay the price. For the Federation, I will give my life.
Oh my God, that song, you guys.
I love that song because as much as Starship Troopers at its core, like later on it ends up being like its own militaristic, like we're going to fight the bugs and like it's aliens or whatever. Like that song gets to the core of what Starship Troopers is, which is this fascist critique of like, going to war and doing these things and how that mines out your soul from the inside. And that song feels like it was something that was sung at youth group on the like planets after got to fight the bugs. It's so like that song that comes randomly in the third movie, which isn't that great, is the thesis for the entire franchise.
Oh yeah.
It is so fucking good. I love it so much.
It's such a great song, inexplicably. I think about this song probably every day of my life. Like when I see like, really over the top conservative people on the internet, I think of this song.
I think on the episode we talked about John Ashcroft singing the "Let the Eagles Soar."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's so familiar and so ridiculous. But if it was sung today by like Trump would retweet this video if we sent it to him right now.
He probably would.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's partially written by the creator of, not the creator, but one of the writers of the series is just like crazy.
Well, that's what happens with that's how these songs come out of just like people like, oh, I've been messing around in my garage.
I know. I really wish we could get those guys on the podcast to just have a whole episode about this song and
just about that.
No, we should.
We would stop. I would stop everything.
Really
Forget
find out
all the other franchises.
If there is
behind the
anybody
scenes.
listening that knows any of those three people that Eli's just listed, we would do an entire mini series about this song.
I know.
We will do it.
It's so ridiculous. Like I never thought, I never thought that the Starship Troopers series would have an original song like this.
And the best song that we've ever
just comes out of nowhere.
Oh, and there is a music video which I highly recommend you watch.
Oh
yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's worth it. Go do
I
it.
love it.
So that's the official winner?
Yes.
Good Day to Die. Woo! Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I'm just happy to know that it won because we know the reasons why.
That's our first best song winner ever. Good Day to Die from Starship Troopers Marauder. Congratulations, Starship Troopers people.
I think there's a decent chance it might still be the best song after 300 episodes. We'll have to check back in.
That's true.
We'll have to check back
That's
in.
true.
Well, because also, I cut out anything. It had to be original for the films. So no Mamma Mia. I mean, obviously we all love ABBA, but Mamma Mia not in the running for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, maybe there'll be some new original songs in Mamma Mia 3.
I'm serious. Justin, you might have to cut this out. How much of a Good Day to Die can we all sing off the top of our heads right now?
Oh God.
I can do it.
I can't.
1, 2, 3.
It's a good day to die
when you know the reasons why.
Oh, it's terrible. It's got it.
Citizens, we fight
for what is right. Okay, that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough.
Hey, we made it to the trumpet.
Justin can sing.
Yeah.
We made it to the trumpet. Oh God!
I mean,
guys.
that's never stopped me and Tyler, but only Justin should sing.
That's right. Oh, that reminds me, we should maybe get Baby Joseph in here. Anyway.
Oh boy. Well, speaking of musical moments, we're gonna do a little bit of a teaser here coming up towards the end of the episode. Eagle-eyed listeners, if you've been listening since the beginning, might have seen that, normally towards the end of the year over the holidays, we release like a little blooper episode that kind of puts together some of the stupid stuff that didn't make the main episode, or times that I messed up the intro, or stupid crap like that where we were laughing at dumb shit. And I didn't get to put one out last year, so I just wanted to give you guys a little tease. I'm still working on the 2019 blooper episode, and it will come out here at some point, but I just wanted to give everybody a little tease, and it leads right from Starship Troopers, and here we go.
I would watch an off-Broadway Starship Troopers musical.
Oh my God. Wait, didn't your friend doesn't he do parody musicals or something? We should tell him.
Who?
Cannon? Didn't he work on a parody musical?
Oh yeah, he was. No, it was a Dungeons and Dragons musical.
Oh, okay. Tell him that.
Yeah,
like we want to co-produce
a Starship Troopers.
And by co-produce, I mean we'll give him $50.
That's producing.
As long as he includes the "Good Day to Die" song.
And there's no other songs, really.
No.
You got to write original ones.
That's true.
Pumping the bugs.
Federal Network.
Slugs.
Yeah. Would you like to know more?
Would you like to know more?
Do I want to live forever?
Should we kill them all? Do we really have to kill them all? That sounds great. Let's do it.
I feel like we're 50% of the way there.
We already thought of like 6 songs.
songs,
So we just have to license a couple things. Yeah. That's going to be featured in our blooper episode coming out later this year whenever I get a chance to cut it together. But that is
Also,
one of
we
the
should
true
probably
gems.
write that musical, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna share this clip. I will share this episode with Canon immediately. We'll see what we can do.
maybe he'll be totally on board.
Yeah.
I love that we come up with the definition of producing too.
Yes, yeah. Oh, you give someone $50? Yeah, put your name on the credits.
I'm the producer.
Totally. And then I have one more surprise for you guys. It's not on the list here. This is just a fun surprise. You know, if you have been listening to some of our blooper episodes, you may have heard this little ditty.
Oh, God damn it.
I want hot milk. Straight from the teats. Straight from the teats. Straight from the teats. Hot milk. Straight from the teats. Hot milk. Straight from the teats. Milk. Straight from the teats.
That is, of course, the classic hit song "Hot Milk" by Tyler Hymanson. Actually,
oh god,
that remix there is made by my brother Jordan Camps, who also has done our theme song for all of these 150 episodes, even a Christmas version when you go back and listen to Jingle All the Way or Home Alone.
You know what? I want to give context for that quote, but no, it doesn't deserve it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Since the hot milk thing has become such an amazing meme that we always bring up within the podcast, and we're always making fun of Tyler for that. I mean, you can go back and find the episode. It could be like a fun, like, where's the hot milk?
Where's
clip?
the hot? What could? You know what my fear is that everyone's like, it could be any episode. Like,
I honestly have
that's
no
just something.
memory.
That's something that Tyler could say.
Don't even tell me.
I won't.
But yeah, so but this is 150 episodes, you guys. Like, people have already heard hot milk. It's been on the charts for years. It's on Spotify. People are loving it. You know what?
Now it's cold milk.
Yeah, exactly. You know when hot milk is such a huge hit, I really think it's time to come out with a sequel. We're all about sequels here.
Oh no.
So Jordan, for our 150th episodes, put together a brand new track called Hot Milk 2, The Return. How's everybody sound?
I sound good.
Hot milk, 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 hot
I'm just not somebody who there should be a recording of speaking.
Woo!
Oh, Jordan, I love you. That's amazing. Justin, for people who don't know, I've never heard that before, and that's amazing.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh,
I had to mute my microphone because I was laughing so hard.
Oh my god.
Yeah, of course, mostly completely clips of Tyler talking because it's just too funny. It's too funny. So that's Hot Milk 2, The Return from Jordan Camps, my brother. Such a great, I look forward to hearing Hot Milk 3 whenever it comes out.
Oh boy, yeah, it's going to happen.
Because,
if you can, go back through old episodes, find where the original drop was from, tweet at us. We would love to hear it.
That's right.
I know which one it is. I don't think my co-hosts remember at all.
Oh,
I don't know at all.
I'm pretty sure I remember.
Yeah.
Since I'm the one who grabbed the clip in the first place. Yeah. Well, to bring things down to more of a serious note here, we've reached the time in the award celebration where we need to take a look back at, some of the people who are no longer with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a moment with me and the Academy to remember those loved ones that we lost this year. Members that meant a great deal to this community. Here now is the 2018 In Memoriam with a special performance by Sequel Rights.
To the stars.
To the stars. For those who don't know, the super inside joke of what's happening there is that the Dragonheart theme, for whatever fucking reason, is the Oscar In Memoriam theme since it came out, like for 15 years?
It's not every time,
Any
but
montage, yeah.
It's incredible. It's just like, oh, here's the music from Dragonheart.
Yeah.
It's the best montage song of all time.
It's an amazing track. Like,
and I love when I'm walking around California Adventure because the Ariel themed not Ariel the mermaid, but airplane themed area has just songs from movies about flying, and this is one of them. And so I'll just be walking along and I'll be like, Dragonheart!
You're like, Max von Sydow, no!
Yes. So, okay, but for the In Memoriam, a couple of episodes ago, Tyler mentioned that there is a shockingly large number of storied actors who have been murdered by their own performances in lackluster sequels.
That is correct.
And so I went back and compiled the actual list, and it's actually not as bad as I thought, but it's pretty bad. So I'm going to share with you the list here, and Tyler and Justin have not heard this. So
to be clear, this is the list of actors whose final performance was in a bad sequel.
In a bad sequel that we specifically have covered.
Oh, okay, got it. Yes,
a sequel rights sequel.
Yeah, so we said bon voyage to a beloved actor while hating on a movie at some point.
We did, yes. So, most recently, you may remember that Ricardo Montalban, his final role was as grandfather in Spy Kids 3D, Game Over.
Oh, man. He still didn't have a first name in the third one?
Nope.
Oh,
grandfather.
God.
I think maybe he did, but he's still just credited as grandfather.
That's sad.
And so, going back to our very first series ever, Jimmy Stewart, storied actor Jimmy Stewart, was killed by his role as the dog sheriff Wiley E. Burp in An American Tale, 5-0 Goes West.
I like how it's like he was killed by that role.
Yes,
he was killed by the role.
That's why he died.
He decided to not jump off the bridge.
Next, we have prolific actress Patty Edwards, who was killed by her role as Satellite Number 1 in The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars.
Oh, no.
That's so bad.
And yes, this person was in multiple movies as this role, but regardless, he was killed. Thurl Ravenscroft was killed by his role as Kirby the Vacuum, the legendary Kirby, in Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars.
Whoa, is that the deadliest movie we've had?
Yeah.
Just you wait.
Oh, no.
Just you wait.
Just you wait.
Yeah. Next, we have DeForest Kelley, Bones himself from Star Trek, who was killed by his role as the Viking 1 spacecraft in Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
Were they just going down the list of aging celebrities and being like,
finally, legendary actress of stage and screen, Carol Channing, was killed by her role as Fanny the ceiling fan in Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars, the deadliest movie of all time.
Oh my God! 4 people?
Yeah.
What?
Killed 4 people.
Wow. That is
Oh my God.
I can't believe that.
Yep.
Wow.
That's it. That's the whole list. It was
That's
6
the whole
people.
list?
It was 6 people, and 4 of them were from Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars.
I mean, it kind of makes
Unless I'm forgetting someone, but I went through the whole list of episodes and was like, okay, yeah, this one, yeah. So,
I guess it makes sense that most of them are from animated films.
yeah, because the person doesn't have to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Right. Oh boy.
Or a film where you're just ahead,
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
That's
well, I'm
messed
glad
up.
we figured that out after 150 episodes. What is the most deadly movie that we've worked upon?
You'd think it would be one of those open waters or something.
You would think so.
Those people
Mars,
actually
no.
died from sharks. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That is crazy. Well, I'm glad you did all that research. That is so funny.
I'm glad we know that now. Yes. So
Yes.
if I've ever asked to work on a Brave Little Toaster movie, I will say no.
You can do it now. You're young. Just don't do it when you're old.
No, there's a curse. There's a curse of the toaster.
That's right. Well, you guys, it's really been fun reflecting on these 150 episodes.
150 down, guys.
Yeah, I kind of
How's it feel?
I kind of can't believe it. Yeah, and when we first started, I didn't know what was going to happen, and this has been so much fun, and I just feel like we've really grown as a podcast team, and it shows in the interviews that we have, and the production values of our show getting better. You heard that S.S. Wilson interview, that was early on.
Shout out to Justin for doing all the audio and all the production for us.
Absolutely, yeah. He's done all the production. I would say that if you can, go back and listen. Starting this podcast, I never would have thought that we would have been able to interview all the wonderful people that we have. And even if I wrote a list at that time, they wouldn't have included some of the people that, I came out of completely left field for us to talk to, and every conversation that we've had has just been so warm and informative and just really lovely, and it's my favorite part of this. So if you scroll through our backlog and you see an episode that's featuring somebody, even if you're not a huge fan of our shtick, I recommend listening to them, because I really do think that we've gotten some just amazing insight about kind of it's not about making movies particularly, but it's about making movies underneath the exact pressures of there's something that happens when you're in your 3rd and 4th movie where there's just a level of honesty that emerges.
Yep.
And I've gotten a lot of joy talking with everyone we've been able to talk to.
Yeah, for me, the podcast I'm really proud of it. It's very fulfilling, and I'm so glad that we've been able to keep doing it. These past couple of years, I kind of changed careers and stopped doing as much journalism and started doing other stuff. And so this has been a really good outlet for me to keep those skills going. And I think it's been good for us, as friends. I mean, sometimes I don't have a significant other, but I feel like sometimes your guys' significant others like, oh, another podcast joke. Like when it's the three of us, or like the rest of our friends are around, and we're like, oh, good day to die. I mean, everyone's like, oh, what? They're talking about some podcast thing.
Yeah.
So that's always fun.
We're the pariahs of our friend group for having a podcast.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. It's been really fun. I hope our listeners have had a lot of fun, and if this is the first episode that you're listening to, I think that there's no shame in hopping around. I think there's no shame in going back and listening to some of these episodes.
Yeah.
There's tons of other guests that we've had that are equally as worthy of listening to, and it's just been a ton of fun to talk about these movies, and even when the movies have not been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. And thanks to you listening and everyone
Exactly.
who's ever listened or shared or downloaded or anything. It all helps us. And
we've received a lot of great notes from people along the way.
Yes.
And those notes really help keep us going and, let us know that you're listening and you're enjoying what we're doing. And yeah, like we can't do it without you guys. So thank you for everyone who's been there and shared it with their friends or listened to an episode or two. We appreciate
it. And if you've made it to the end of this 150th episode and there's a certain franchise that you want to talk about, or that there's a movie that you want to discuss, let us know. Like, we'd be happy to have you on. We'd be happy to talk to you. And if you have any suggestions, we're, always looking for something else. We just finished Spy Kids. And we might be moving on to something else. I don't know if we're announcing it yet. I don't know if we're completely decided. But that's all for another time. This is about celebration.
Yeah. And you can send us your comments, sequelrights@gmail.com, or on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, where I still am trying to get the back catalog up. I'm trying to keep up with the current episodes, but I will chip away at that back catalog for you guys that like to listen on YouTube.
That's right. And this evening, when we're recording this, we're going to leave you with one last parody song for you guys to kind of close out the show and go out on this one. This was a fun one I did for one of the Benji movies. I believe it was From Benji with Love, or no, what was it?
No, For the Love
of Benji. Sorry, I'm
From Benji with Love.
From Benji with Love. I'm getting the, okay.
On her
Benji's are forever.
Spoiler alert. It's a, exactly.
Benji eyes.
It's a James Bond parody of, Nobody Does It Better from The Spy Who Loved Me by Carly Simon. So we're leaving you tonight with the song Nobody's Dog is Cuter. Thanks for being here.
Nobody's dog is cuter. Makes me feel warm in my chest. Nobody's dog is half as good boy as you. Benji, you're the best. I was out walking by the dog pound near me. I saw a shadow in the moonlight. A cute doggy in front of me. For the love of Benji is keeping my kidnapped children safe tonight. And nobody's dog is cuter, though sometimes I wish you could talk. Nobody's dog is quite as stray as you. Also, cops wish you could talk. The way that you're barking whenever you're barking, there's some kind of something you're trying to say. We're not comprehending, but that bark is outstanding. Has anyone seen my kids around today?